Let's be real. Nobody likes to be the bearer here of bad news, but sometimes there's a lot that you can learn from other people's mistakes, aka my mistakes. But also just in general, just learning the what not to do's of business, specifically in Etsy, can be super helpful for you, especially if you're first starting out or even if you're an experienced Etsy seller. That's why in this video, we're gonna be going over the absolute fastest way to kill your Etsy business, even if you're a new or experienced Etsy seller. Without further ado, let's get into this video. All right, so the first one that we're gonna talk about is boredom. What tends to happen when us as business owners or Etsy sellers get bored with our business? Well, we might be making some pretty consistent sales. We're getting pretty comfortable with the sales that are coming in and just the operation in general. It can happen as soon as under 1 year to maybe it took you about 2 years to hit this point, maybe even 3 years, right? And so what tends to happen is two types of situations. One, because of the boredom, it leads you to wanting to dip your fingers and get involved in different business ventures. So you're like, okay, well, I'm kind of bored with just what I'm doing. So instead of doubling down on what's working, you start getting like shiny object syndrome again, where you're like, okay, I want to open a second brand. I want to open a third brand. Oh, and I want to do this. Or maybe it's not even e-commerce related and you just start getting involved in a new business venture. The other case scenario is you just simply stop trying to grow the business altogether and you just kind of sit back because you're comfortable with where you're at. I don't want to get you confused. It's okay to not be going as hard as you went when you first launched your business. Like when I first launched my first brand, I was psycho. Like I would wake up at 6 a.m. I didn't take my eyes away from the screen until 10, 11 at night, every single day. I was a lunatic. I didn't hang out with friends. I didn't go to dinner. I literally cut off everybody. I didn't even answer text messages. I was crazy. Now, it's okay to not be like that, especially if you're making consistent sales and money. You should like live your life a little bit. But what I'm talking about is like completely just taking your foot off the gas and just coasting and thinking that it's gonna be like this forever. Let's talk about how both of these scenarios can really kill your business really, really fast. So let's talk about the first one that we talked about, the one where you're kind of getting shiny object syndrome and you want to start opening new brands or getting into a different business venture. What I'm not saying is that you're not allowed to open a second store or start a new business venture. But the KPI or the key performance indicator that gives you the go-ahead to make that transition is only when you have not only systemized and completely automated your current brand with employees, SOPs, which means standard operating procedures, everything from fulfillment to growth of the existing store is completely offloaded to a team. And now your business is not only operating itself, but it's also growing by itself. Now, obviously, no business is completely without you being involved, but I will say that the growth part of the business and the operation side of the business should be 90 to 95% offloaded to your team. At that point, your only job is managing your team. At that point, I would say it's okay to start getting involved in a second brand or maybe a new business venture, right? And I think my big mistake is I hit this point in my business and I just wanted to do a bunch of different things. I started trying to get into Airbnbs and started buying properties. I tried to open a second brand. I also tried to, learn private label, do Amazon all at the same time. And while my business was operating by itself with my employees, it wasn't growing by itself. That growth factor of your business is a huge time commitment. And I didn't realize how much of a time commitment it was until I started getting distracted by all these other things. Any really great entrepreneur will tell you to only focus on one thing at a time. If your business is not actually hit its max potential, so the current business that you have running, if it hasn't hit its max potential, meaning you haven't maxed out your ad spend, so that means that you're not spending $1,000 a day on ads, you don't have employees doing your fulfillment or your customer service or organization in your office or inventory or helping you make the products, and also growing the business, so doing research and development for new product opportunities, photography, listing optimization, keyword research, all of that stuff at that point needs to be offloaded to somebody else before you can even think about starting a new business. This is a really big error that I see a lot of new sellers make. Well, because a lot of times you get really excited and they're like already coming to the table like, I want to open a print-on-demand store and a digital download store, and I also want to open a baby store that I'm going to make products in-house. And that's great that you have that much enthusiasm for opening all these different ventures, but you have to start one engine and have it running and turning a profit. And then also that engine should be running itself before you even think about starting another engine. Otherwise, you're just gonna have like 5 half-broken engines, and you're not gonna make the money that you would expect that you wanna make. And you're also gonna get burned out really, really fast. Each new business venture has its own needs, wants, fears, and goals. It's literally like a child. And once you have that second child, it's not like you can just turn it off and forget about the second child and refocus back on the first child. You're always gonna be worried about all your kids at the same time. So don't get in over your head. Master one niche, max out it to its potential completely, where it's not only operating by itself, but also growing by itself before you even think about going into another business venture. This leads me to the second biggest way to absolutely kill your Etsy business, which is not updating your Etsy listings. One thing that you have to understand about Etsy listings is Etsy listings have a life cycle. So I can't tell you specifically when an Etsy listing is gonna die out, but eventually it will. And this happens because of a couple of different variables. Etsy listings die out eventually because it's outdated, trends are changing, color schemes, styles are changing, keywords are changing, there's competition rising, right? All of these variables factor into an Etsy listing eventually dying out. So some things that I launched 3 years ago that were bestsellers for a solid year and a half, today are no longer bestsellers. So how you combat that is by constantly updating and revamping your current listings, and then also launching new products. Etsy is very much a horizontal scaling business. Once you have your ads budget maxed out to $1,000 a day, there's really no other way to make more money because you're limited based off search volume. So the only way that you can make more money is by launching more products and updating your current listings, which it makes better value propositions and makes better listings and an overall better Etsy store over time. One thing that people do, like we kind of mentioned before, is when they're comfortable with the income coming in, they kind of just sit back and think that their ship is never going to sink. And then maybe they have a listing that was getting them 10x return on ad spend, right? And over time, it slowly decreases to 5x and then 3x. And then they sit back in panic mode to just go back and relaunch and revamp after it's already too late and they're losing so much momentum. So it's important that it's built into your SOP or your standard operating procedure processes within your business to be constantly doing research and development in your store, to be always looking for new product opportunities. Next biggest way to kill your Etsy store is by not making data-based decisions. So when I'm talking about making data-based decisions, basically what I'm talking about is missing the step in your business, in your organization, where you just overlook R&D. R&D stands for research and development, and this part of your organization, a part of your business, should eventually get to the point where it's SOP'd out. Again, SOP in business stands for standard operating procedure, where every part of your research and development process has a process. So just to give you a little bit of insight, the reason why that this is so important is because I know a lot of people, and I know this for sure just from consulting, is when it comes time to launch new things, they're just blindly launching products, meaning they don't really have a research and a development process. They just go and they maybe look at what's trending kinda and then just put things out to the world. So when you're doing research and development, it should be a mix of, you know, your own higher level thinking of what you think is going to win based off what you're just seeing with the marketplace and trends, but also actually going into the marketplace, putting data behind your decisions. So it's kind of like this hybrid of doing both, going with your gut based off of what you think is trending, what you think the future trends are gonna be, but then also putting some data to back the justification of why you're going to spend time, money, and energy launching said product. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, so if you had a home pottery studio and you put out ceramics, you maybe make some dishes, you maybe make cups, mugs, whatever it is that you can make out of ceramic, right? Instead of just blindly launching ceramics, where you might be the true artist of ceramics and you love what you put out, but just because you love something and it might be your art, that may not be what's actually trending, right? And so it's important to try to, find a balance of where your art or whatever you're creating is actually what people want to buy. And you can go the full artist route and just, only stick to your color scheme and your designs and what you want to make. And that's fine. You can do that. You just can't expect to make the sales that you would make if you were following trends, following color schemes, following what the market is actually telling you. I went into the kitchen and dining section here in Etsy, and when I scroll down, the first cup that I see here is this handmade ceramic mug stoneware cup. Now, not a whole bunch of keywords, not a bunch of reviews, but Etsy does tend to show you here, like this is just on the first page of their kitchen and dining catalog. Mind you, Etsy's auto-populating different listings based off different geographical areas, but it does say something about your listings, why Etsy likes this listing and why they would show it for a reason. So let's actually go ahead and click on this listing. And the reason this caught my eye is because this type of texture specifically right here, I know it's been probably around forever, but just recently, just from going to coffee shops, because I work from coffee shops all the time, I'm seeing this type of textured ceramic in a lot of coffee shops, specifically really trendy coffee shops. That's why I clicked on this listing, but also because Etsy put it on the first page. So just off the bat, some KPIs here that is saying the listing like this is winning. We have an Etsy's pick badge, and we have a 10 add to cart badge. These are just some things to know about what's possibly trending in this ceramic space. Something's obviously working in this listing. I want to investigate a little bit further here. So if I was someone in the ceramic space, right, we just pulled out some KPIs that this kind of design is working pretty well, but let's just take this a step further. So I'm going to use my Sales Samurai Chrome extension here, and I'm going to type in ceramic mug. Now, the reason I can see search volume on a keyword here is because I have Sales Samurai downloaded. So Sales Samurai has a lot of different features. They have a Chrome extension, but then they also have a full website where they have all these different tools here, from optimizing your shop, you're optimizing your listings, to doing research and development, tracking competition. Sales Samurai does a lot of different things, but we're gonna go back to the Chrome extension here and use it by clicking the 500 more button here. So I went ahead and we're searching for some search volume based off of the key term ceramic mug. So we can see here ceramic mug has about 3,429 search volume per month, which means there's over 3,000 people searching that keyword per month. Now, the key thing here, if I wanted to go into this listing, if I wanted to make ceramic mugs and maybe chase that trending, color scheme or whatever, and not copy. You never want to copy, but you just want to get inspired by what's working. We're going to go find the keyword opportunities. First, see if there's any keyword opportunity. And then if there is keyword opportunity, then we're going to want to go into that product based off that keyword opportunity. The whole point of me showing you all this and giving you this breakdown isn't that we're going to sit here and do full keyword research to validate what's Etsy showing you with some data here to see if this is actually a good opportunity. The highest search term for you that's available to you was only 100, right? If ceramic mug was the highest search volume keyword that you had available to you for that product that was a keyword product fit, say I wouldn't spend a bunch of time and energy developing that product after we did the research, because there's just no search volume for that keyword. Today, Etsy is really focused on making sure that you're fully optimizing your title, but not making your title look spammy or overcrowded with keywords. So it's even more important to select specific keywords that are the strongest fit for your product, but then also just the strongest based off of search volume. So we have ceramic mug here that's about $3,400 a month, and the competition is over 45,000 per month. And then we have ceramic mugs with an S here, and it's about the same amount of search volume, but the competition is like quadruple this one here. So out of these two key terms, I would probably favor this guy over this guy, even though maybe my main image still has multiple mugs in it. I would still probably just put ceramic mug as the first keyword since the competition is so much lower, right? Where in this case, there is actually a significant amount of search volume. So I would want to go into not only the ceramic mug niche, but then I would also want to capitalize on what are my best case scenario words and then pull those words out and put those at the beginning of my titles, tags, and description. Now, there's some other key terms down here, the 10-ounce ceramic mug, where the competition even gets lower. So that could be a KPI on making options for the sizes. So we see a 10-ounce and an 18-ounce mug, right? So both of these would be, that probably indicates those are the sizes that people want the most. So I would actually go ahead and make those size options if I'm making made to order, you know, ceramic mugs or something like that. This is just a little bit of insight on Sales Samurai and how I use it. When you're in a given niche, there's only, you know, so many products that are available to you. So as far as what products you should work on launching first, second, third, these are the types of KPIs and some of the data points that I'm looking for to tell me what is my best case scenario to even focus on first, followed by what are some of my best case scenario keywords. Overall, guys, this is just a little bit of insight. I have full videos on SEO training. I can link that video here. Make sure you guys check out Sales Samurai. You can get 20% off if you use code Etsy. And again, you're gonna want to use some type of tool like this. Sales Samurai is personally just what I use, but you do need to use some type of tool to get more accurate data on what's going on with your own store or just the current marketplace as a whole. The next biggest way to absolutely kill your Etsy brand, let's break this down. I talk about this all the time. And honestly, this is probably why my videos don't get as much views as other people, because I'm not selling people the dream about what it takes to build an Etsy brand. This is like not a 5-second thing. It's not free. It costs money. You get the point. So the next biggest way to kill your Etsy brand is by opting out of spending money on ads. So opting out of spending money on Etsy pay per click. Like many third-party selling platforms, you have an option to promote your Etsy listings. And essentially what this is telling Etsy that I'm willing to pay for clicks to my listings in the Etsy search pages. So whenever you go to any Etsy search page and you type in any keyword, the first 4 positions are usually ads. And yes, people are paying to be there. Now, what is the psychology behind Etsy ads? Well, if Etsy is a business, you can only think in terms of what would Etsy want, right? If Etsy is also a business, do you think that Etsy in the long term is going to favor businesses that are or are not spending money on paid traffic? Well, if I was a business, I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're going to eventually favor people that are spending money on ads. Not only are they going to make money off of your every single sale, but they're also going to capitalize on the sellers that want to spend money on paid traffic. So the idea that you are never going to spend money on Etsy paid traffic is eventually not going to be an option anymore, because what's going to happen is eventually, per all niches, it's going to become so competitive that not only are you going to have to spend money on ads, but you're going to have to show Etsy that you're willing to outspend your competitors. That means spending max budget allowances on your Etsy PPC. And for a lot of new sellers, this can be really scary, especially if you're not seeing an automatic return on your money. But as business owners, you have to be willing to invest in your business. And I obviously would never recommend anyone to spend money on their ads if 1, they don't have optimized listings, or 2, they're products are just not competitive enough compared to their competition, right? But those are things that should be vetted out and done before, in the research and development stage, before you even launch your listings. For all the new sellers, it's good that you're watching this video so you can set your expectation properly now of what you're gonna have to spend to be able to rank properly. For any older or more seasoned sellers watching this, if you're one of those sellers that historically have not been spending money on ads and you're seeing a decline in your sales over time, one of the key components to that happening is you're probably getting outbid by your competition, because you have a bunch of new people coming into the space that are not only willing to produce just as competitive listings, but then they're also willing to tell Etsy that they're going to, outbid you in the Etsy search pages. But the theory with any ads platform, this is the same for Amazon PPC. The theory with spending money on pay per click is, as you gain rank and as you invest in your listings, a cost to acquire a customer should decrease over time as your listings gain rank, because as they gain rank, which your ads are gonna help you gain rank, you're gonna start organically showing up on pages closer to the first page because of your ads, because of your SEO, because of all the love that you give your listing and all your positive reviews, right? So that ad cost should go down as you become a more seasoned seller and gain more social proof, get more sales, and have more reviews. You're gonna be able to convert your customers a lot better than, say, somebody with a brand new store with no reviews or no social proof. And finally, we're gonna talk about the last way to kill your Etsy business, and that is not following trends. What does that mean? That means that you are not staying up to date with trending photography, trending color schemes, trending maybe fonts if you have things that have fonts, maybe certain materials. For example, like for a while there, like gold jewelry was really trending, right? And now that whole era of layered gold jewelry is slowly coming to an end, and right now maybe we're gonna switch to silver or something like that. So how do you know what's trending? Well, one place that I go to all the time is Pinterest. I look at Pinterest for everything. Like, you can literally type in any keyword and Pinterest is going to auto-populate to the top for you what type of photography is trending, what color schemes are trending. Like right now, a while back ago, when you would do bachelorette party gift ideas, everything was that pink and black look, right? Now today, that pink and black bachelorette looking type branding is super tacky in today's era, right? Now it's transitioned into like neutral tones, neutral pinks, blushes, sages, right? So that's what I mean when I'm talking about following what's trending. And Pinterest will show that for you. Like, so if you literally go to Pinterest right now and you type in bachelorette gift box, it's gonna show you winning photography. It's gonna show you winning colors, winning fonts, winning textures, color tones, all that stuff. And following trends is, again, it's a mix of data, but also using your higher level intellectual thinking of what you personally think brands really well together. And if you're new at branding and if you're new at Etsy in general, it's not, sometimes this type of stuff doesn't come natural to you and it takes time. So it's in your best interest to hire photographers or hire branding partners. And sometimes I think that sellers don't even realize that they're falling off the bandwagon. Like, they don't even realize that, their designs or their listings are outdated, because historically it's what's worked for them. But it's really important that you're aware that things change, marketplaces change, niches change, and you have to be malleable as a business owner in the sense to be willing to adapt to what's currently trending, even if it's completely out of the realm of what you used to put out and the designs that you used to put out. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out Sales Samurai and the link in my description. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. If you got some value, give it a thumbs up and comment some love down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.